The numbers don't lie. Tesla's 2025 sales record has revealed a decline that can't be waved away as temporary. In Q1, the company delivered 336,681 cars, down sharply from 495,570 in Q4 of 2024. By Q2, Tesla built 410,244 vehicles, but delivered only 384,122, again, fewer than the same quarter a year earlier. These numbers are out of step with the rest of the EV industry, which is posting broad growth across major markets. If demand rises while one company shrinks, that points less to external conditions and more to internal shortcomings. Europe illustrates this most clearly. Some markets have reported collapses as dramatic as 50 to 80% in individual months, while the region overall shows several consecutive months of losses for Tesla. According to ACA data, Tesla's EU market share in the first half of 2025 fell to around 1.3%, down from more than 2% a year earlier. Registrations in Germany, France, and Sweden each show consistent double-digit declines, figures that undercut the idea of short-term swings. EV sales overall in Europe are growing, yet Tesla's deliveries are sliding. The contrast reveals that buyers aren't abandoning electric vehicles, they are simply choosing other brands. The pattern isn't confined to Europe. In China, Tesla's second-largest market, sales have now posted 9 straight months of year-over-year declines, with July showing an 8.4% drop. The refreshed Model Y hasn't reversed that trend, and rivals such as Geely are setting new sales records with affordable hatchbacks. Meanwhile, in the US, where Tesla has long been strongest, registration data indicates actual declines closer to 15% in Q1 rather than the 8.6% Tesla's reporting first suggested. In California, a state that still accounts for nearly 40% of Tesla's US volume, deliveries in Q2 fell 21% year-over-year. These shifts show the downturn isn't regional, it's global. This consistency is what makes the results so telling. It isn't a blip caused by one measurement period, but a continuing pattern. Sales are down in Europe, down in China, and down in the United States, even as overall EV penetration grows in each market. The sequence from Q4 2024 to Q1 2025 to Q2 2025 provides a concrete timeline of contraction. In a normal cycle, you might expect production and deliveries to fluctuate with model launches or seasonal trends. But here the line only points downward. That suggests the issue lies with Tesla's competitiveness, not an industry-wide slowdown. So who is winning? The largest gains have come from BYD. In the first half of 2025, it delivered nearly 1.9 million plug-in vehicles worldwide, a 33% increase year-over-year and almost double Tesla's output. Its market share has grown to nearly 20% of the global EV market. The company is achieving this expansion despite 100% tariffs, locking it out of the United States. Instead, it has turned its attention to Europe, Latin America, and smaller Asian markets, where its low-cost, feature-packed models are drawing strong demand. That achievement is a direct mirror of Tesla's retreat. The contrast highlights an execution problem. European regulators have applied tariffs and scrutiny to BYD, yet its volume continues to grow across Germany, the UK, and southern European countries. Latin America, where EV adoption is still early, has become a fresh area of expansion for BYD, while Tesla's higher price points make less sense in emerging markets. Consumers value practicality, affordability, and range, not status branding imported from California or Oslo. In other words, electric cars are no longer a luxury aspiration. They're an everyday purchase, and Tesla is not positioned in that space. The result is erosion of Tesla's core models. The Model 3 and Model Y, still the foundation of the lineup, are losing their sheen. In 2018, range and a clean design were enough to dominate. In 2025, competitors match or exceed Tesla on range, while offering upgraded interiors, software, and features as standard. March sales of the Model Y hit about 89,000 units, but that figure was almost 25% lower year-over-year despite being the top-selling BEV globally in Q1. The symbolic victory of number one model means less when the trend line is still negative. Defenders frame this as a lull before Tesla's next lineup refresh. But the delivery timeline suggests otherwise. Decline has shown up across back-to-back quarters, in multiple global regions, while rivals are not only holding steady but expanding. That fits the profile of a structural problem. Demand is being redirected to other brands, not withheld out of broader fatigue with EVs. When Volkswagen, Hyundai, BYD, and Stellantis are ramping up deliveries at the same time Tesla is cutting back, it's difficult to argue the company is simply between product cycles. Timing is a serious liability. Developing, validating, and scaling new models takes years. BYD is rolling out multiple options this calendar year, while Tesla's schedule for major product introductions is further out. Each quarter that Tesla contracts gives its competitors more room to entrench themselves. Once market share is ceded, regaining it is costly and slow. For Tesla, the risk is that refreshes arrive late to a segment where rivals already have recognized staying power. The most symbolic blow remains Europe. Norway, once Tesla's crown jewel of early adoption, now reads like a cautionary tale. Tesla achieved cultural dominance there first, proof that electrics could displace combustion. Watching registration data crater in one of its most emblematic markets is more than a statistical dip. It signals that Tesla no longer embodies inevitability. In Germany and France, two automotive powerhouses, declines weigh heavier because Tesla isn't simply fighting for customers. It is struggling against national champions who are leveraging established dealer networks and increasingly competitive EV technology. Put against this backdrop, the explanations once common, chip shortages, shipping bottlenecks, raw material inflation, sound less convincing. Supply chains are steadier in 2025, and EV sales outside Tesla prove that demand remains strong. When a company sees sharp contraction, while nearly all of its rivals are scaling upward, investors and buyers alike recognize the slump as unique. Tesla's reversal is not industry-driven. It is brand-specific. Where does that leave the broader story? At the point where shrinking sales converge with expanding competition. For years, Tesla was synonymous with the concept of an EV itself, the one name that defined the category. Now, the numbers show it is one of many options rather than the default choice, and increasingly not the favored one. This brings us to the harder question underneath the figures. If global demand is rising and Tesla is losing share across Europe, China, and the US, then the problem isn't consumer disinterest in electrification. It's Tesla's inability to hold a lead in a field it once defined. And that sets up the next challenge. If Tesla is fading, who is moving past it? Competitors overtake without looking back. Competitors overtake without looking back. While Tesla struggles to hold ground, rivals are not waiting. They are expanding, scaling, and redefining electric mobility at the very moment Tesla appears stuck. The clearest evidence comes from the hard numbers. In the first half of 2025, BYD delivered about 1.897 million plug-in vehicles worldwide, nearly triple Tesla's 719,000 over the same period. That gap tells the entire story. This isn't about a subtle shift in rank, it's a wholesale change in leadership. BYD's rise has very little to do with futuristic promises. Instead, it's built on fundamentals: vertical integration, relentless cost control, and a willingness to chase volume rather than exclusivity. BYD makes its own batteries, manages its own supply chain, and even operates its own shipping fleet. That allows it to undercut Tesla by more than 30% in some price brackets, while still packing in features that matter to families: longer ranges, big infotainment screens, competitive safety ratings. And crucially, it achieved this momentum even without meaningful sales in the United States, where tariffs keep its cars uncompetitive. Growth in China, Europe, Latin America, and Southeast Asia was enough to propel it past Tesla at a scale that can't be ignored. What makes this shift more striking is the breadth of BYD's success. It's not just the battery electric market where Tesla plays, but also plug-in hybrids. In the first quarter of 2025, BYD owned 8 of the top 10 PHEV spots globally, with the Song Plus alone selling over 78,000 units in 3 months. That kind of dominance in multiple subsegments shows how wide the moat has become. Where Tesla ships 2 core volume models, the Model 3 and Model Y, which together still make up about 95% of its global deliveries, BYD floods the market with dozens of variations tailored to regional demand. That strategic spread means it can compete at every level, from entry city runabouts to high-volume family SUVs. Volkswagen represents a different kind of challenge. Its advantage is less about price and more about scale. In Europe, Volkswagen's ID series has become a credible, mass-market family of EVs, backed by a legacy dealer and service network that Tesla cannot match. Sales data confirms that Volkswagen is building consistent volume across multiple markets with steady output, while Tesla's sales in Europe are shrinking. European customers familiar with Volkswagen's reliability now see EVs from a trusted brand that deliver on fundamentals. Decent range, accessible pricing tiers, and after-sales support in every major city. That makes Volkswagen more than just another competitor. It is a structural force in Europe that Tesla has to answer, but hasn't. Hyundai and Kia expose another weakness. Once regarded as budget-conscious brands, they have used the EV transition to reinvent themselves. The Hyundai Ioniq models and Kia EV6, for instance, deliver charging speeds that outpace Tesla's, interior comforts that appeal to mainstream buyers, and warranties that reduce long-term ownership risk. This mix of quality and reassurance resonates with customers comparing their first EV purchases. The fact that Hyundai and Kia have closed the technology gap so rapidly undermines the idea that Tesla still holds a unique edge in engineering. Instead, buyers see two Korean brands offering cars that do everything Tesla can at competitive prices, while adding traditional auto industry strengths Tesla lacks. Together, this trio, BYD, Volkswagen, Hyundai/Kia, demonstrates the squeeze Tesla faces from different directions. BYD overwhelms on price and variety, Volkswagen exploits institutional strength in Europe, and Hyundai/Kia attract middle-market consumers with accessible, polished products. No single player is aiming to replicate Tesla's old position. Instead, each is stacking strengths in categories where Tesla is weak. The combined result is that Tesla has lost the commanding ground it once stood on. The psychological impact matters too. For over a decade, Tesla was seen not only as a carmaker, but as the symbol of the EV future. Being outsold by BYD and matched or bypassed by legacy and Korean rivals erodes that aura of inevitability. Consumers once assumed Tesla was the default EV choice. Today, they see it as one option among many, and increasingly not the most practical one. That narrative shift matters in regions like Europe and China, where EV adoption is fast becoming mainstream and purchase decisions are pragmatic rather than aspirational. Even geography doesn't provide insulation anymore. Regions once considered Tesla-safe zones now show cracks. In Europe, where generous subsidies created fertile ground for Tesla early on, brands like BYD and Volkswagen are cutting into its share month after month. In Latin America, where uptake is still in the early stages, BYD is establishing dominance by targeting families with affordable entry-level EVs. In the United States, Tesla retains presence but faces pressure from Ford, Rivian, and a slew of new entrants. The supposed mode of pioneering brand recognition has ceased to matter against competitors that simply offer newer, better, or more affordable cars. And the imbalance extends beyond volume. Tesla's two-pillar strategy around the Model 3 and Model Y, once a strength, now locks it into an aging product lineup. Rivals roll out refreshed vehicles and new designs every year. Tesla is still extracting sales from platforms introduced half a decade ago. That mismatch accelerates perception of stagnation. Statements about upcoming products, Cybertruck, Semi, Robotaxi, haven't translated into meaningful deliveries at scale. Whereas competitors let new models speak directly in the showroom, Tesla still leans heavily on promises yet to materialize. In practice, the outcome is decisive. Tesla remains prominent on paper, but in reality, the market has moved past it. BYD towers ahead in volume. Volkswagen provides rooted competition in Europe, and Hyundai/Kia prove that fast, consumer-friendly pivots work. Tesla is being overtaken not because electric demand has faltered, but because others have been faster, broader, and more reliable in execution. That is the unmistakable trajectory of the sales data, region after region. This context is important because it shapes how investors and the public view Tesla's leadership decisions. If the product story was still one of growth, investor tolerance for setbacks might remain high. But as competitors surpass Tesla across multiple benchmarks, the spotlight inevitably shifts to how Tesla is being managed. And that takes us to the striking contrast at the center of its recent announcements. While the numbers point down, inside the boardroom, a very different set of decisions is being made. The endless pay parade. The endless pay parade. In mid-2025, as Tesla reported sliding deliveries in its largest markets, the board authorized one of the most striking pay awards in corporate history. First came an interim restricted stock grant, 96 million shares, valued at roughly $29 billion. This was described in proxy filings as a way to replace the controversial 2018 package that had been struck down by the Delaware courts. Even framed as a replacement, the optics were extraordinary. Sales were softening, disputes over autopilot safety were intensifying, and yet Tesla's directors signed off on billions in equity for a CEO already holding the largest personal stake in the company. Within weeks, the conversation took an even more dramatic turn. In September, the board went beyond the interim grant and proposed what it called the 2025 CEO Performance Award. This package, if fully earned, could reach an unprecedented $1 trillion, making it the largest executive pay plan ever contemplated. The structure includes 12 tranches of stock tied to aggressive market capitalization and operational milestones. Market cap thresholds begin at $2 trillion and scale up to $8.5 trillion. Operational goals include producing 20 million vehicles annually, reaching 10 million active full self-driving subscriptions, delivering 1 million humanoid robots, and operating 1 million commercial Robotaxis. Only if all those conditions are eventually met would Musk receive the full award. Yet even at partial vesting, the dilution effect and voting implications would be immense. The scale becomes easier to grasp with a direct comparison. The award Musk received in 2018, valued at $56 billion, was at the time considered outsized. This new proposal is 18 times larger. To put the number in perspective, the $1 trillion ceiling is nearly equal to Tesla's entire market capitalization in 2025. Even if only some tranches vest, the resulting equity adds both stock-based dilution and enhanced voting power. In fact, the arrangement includes a special voting agreement. Once Musk earns the right to a tranche, he can vote those shares before they fully vest. That change accelerates his influence, potentially drawing him closer to his stated goal of controlling 25% of Tesla's voting power far sooner than exercising the shares outright. For investors, such an arrangement is more than symbolic. Dilution places downward pressure on existing holders, and the additional voting rights shift balance in corporate governance. Musk already has powerful influence over Tesla's strategy. This plan would cement his dominance at a scale rarely seen in publicly traded firms. Critics have pointed out that Musk, as Tesla's largest shareholder, already has ample incentive to increase company value. Granting trillions more in potential equity raises questions about necessity, especially when growth targets that supported past valuations no longer align with Tesla's current sales performance. The Columbia Business School examined the mechanics of reinstating the earlier 2018 award and estimated Tesla would need to record an accounting charge of between $25 and $51 billion. That charge, large enough to overwhelm Tesla's annual earnings on paper, indicates the financial strain such pay structures can place on reported results. Layering a new $1 trillion program on top of a $29 billion grant only amplifies the sense of imbalance. It is precisely this type of accounting footprint that rattles confidence among shareholders seeking clean signals of corporate health. Supporters argue the proposed award is tied to extreme operational hurdles, one so demanding that success would validate the incentives retroactively. The board emphasizes that Tesla's rivals do not face thresholds like producing 1 million commercial Robotaxis. According to the Compensation Committee, normal benchmarking to peer CEOs would be irrelevant, because no other chief executive is being tasked with such transformative goals. Chair Robin Denholm went further, suggesting that Musk's involvement in ventures outside Tesla, from spaceflight to artificial intelligence, ultimately benefits the company, energizing his leadership. To her and other directors, spreading Musk's creative energy across industries strengthens rather than distracts from Tesla. Skeptics see a different picture. The plan does not dictate how much of Musk's time must be spent directly on Tesla. That omission leaves open the risk that Tesla shareholders finance a historic compensation program while their CEO spreads attention among multiple ventures in rockets, tunneling, and social media. Concerns extend beyond attention span into governance itself. If Musk continues shifting his public focus, investors may wonder whether Tesla has a practical succession strategy at all, despite the plan requiring a formal succession outline for final tranches to vest. For shareholders, the juxtaposition of pay against performance is unavoidable. Deliveries fell nearly 30% year-over-year in the first quarter of 2025. U.S. registrations slipped by double digits, and Tesla lost share to incumbents in Europe and China. Few boardrooms would respond to such numbers with promotions of gigantic new awards. Yet Tesla's board has argued that future-focused goals justify continuing to tie ever larger sums to Musk's involvement. The risk for investors is whether the future metrics remain perpetually deferred, while present challenges, like missed production targets or shrinking market share, erode value today. Inside the company, the symbolism filters downward. Employees on production lines or in service centers know when factories miss output goals and when product launches slip further into the calendar. Those employees live with recalls, overtime scheduling, and resource shortfalls. Seeing tens of billions delivered to the CEO, while those day-to-day frustrations pile up, can create a sense that accountability only flows one way. That perception matters. It establishes morale, culture, and faith that leadership rides the same currents as staff. If incentives detach entirely from current results, the message becomes one of hierarchy rather than shared mission. From an investor's standpoint, awards at this scale demand more than casual acceptance. They change the fundamental nature of the stock. Dilution reshapes earnings per share. Additional voting rights alter corporate balance. And the narrative itself, pay that grows while performance shrinks, creates reputational shock that can affect analyst coverage and fund allocation. If you own Tesla, this isn't an abstract debate about one executive. It's about how your stake in the company may evolve in value and power as these new tranches unfold. Still, the essential contradiction remains. A company facing its toughest competitive environment in years chooses to expand executive rewards as if conditions were booming. Investors who once excused lavish incentives because they believed Tesla led the EV revolution must now do the math with rivals surging past and core products aging. Rhetoric about future Robotaxis does little to counter the practical effect of reporting lower deliveries, shrinking share, and increasing recalls. In that context, massive awards appear less like bold vision and more like detachment from operational reality. And that operational reality is where the real pressure shows. Tesla may argue that wealth transfers motivate future innovation, but factories and assembly lines must deliver cars here and now. With rivals outproducing and underpricing Tesla across multiple regions, the effect of these pay packages is magnified. As shareholders weigh both dilution and direction, what matters most is whether Tesla can execute at the ground level. Because if the company stumbles there, no amount of promised milestones or compensation schemes can alter the trajectory. How well Tesla's core machines are running has become the most pressing question. Manufacturing bottlenecks. Tesla's identity as a manufacturer once rested on a singular claim. Its factories embodied the future. The vision was unmistakable: glass-walled gigaplants filled with robotic arms, building cars faster and cheaper than traditional automakers could imagine. Yet by 2025, that promise looks cracked. Instead of flawless automation, Tesla is confronting bottlenecks, labor shortages, and quality issues that drag output below projections and inflate per-unit costs. The Berlin Gigafactory, unveiled as Tesla's European stronghold, illustrates the strain. Targeted to ramp annual production into the hundreds of thousands, Berlin is still underperforming. Worker recruitment stalled amid high turnover, with employees citing grueling schedules and safety concerns. Local unions and regulators pushed back harder than Tesla expected, and production lines struggled to scale. The effect is simple. Tesla's most important European facility is behind schedule, leaving the company unable to seize regional demand as intended. In a market where Volkswagen and BMW are surging forward, Tesla's delays hand rivals valuable breathing space. Tesla's reliance on centralized supply flows adds another complication. Berlin imports a large share of its critical components, leaving it exposed when logistics stumble. Missing shipments don't merely pause a single step, they ripple across entire lines. By comparison, BYD avoids many of these pitfalls. Its vertical integration extends from blade battery production to in-house electronics and assembly, cutting outside dependence and keeping costs stable. In practice, that means BYD can recover from shocks quickly while Tesla endures global shipping delays that slow European deliveries to a trickle. Tesla's global production numbers make this imbalance visible. In Q1 2025, Tesla produced 362,615 vehicles, a 16% decline year over year. A stark miss for a company whose stated goal is 2.07 million units this year. That target already represents modest growth on the 1.77 million produced in 2024, yet the first half of 2025 suggests the company may fall short. Even when output rises, it has failed to keep pace with delivery figures, fueling higher inventory and weakening cash generation. It's a reversal of Tesla's former ability to extract margins through what it called lean manufacturing. Recalls compound the problem. The most public example is the Cybertruck. Launched with fanfare, it has been dogged by early breakdowns, software glitches, and a high-profile recall that forced Tesla to halt and correct vehicles already distributed. The effect was immediate. Depreciation rates soared, resale values plunged, and confidence in the vehicle evaporated. In manufacturing terms, recalls drain the very efficiency Tesla depends on, requiring rework and eating up both time and capital. Combined with slower Model Y sales in China and Europe, these setbacks mean Tesla's factories are less an asset and more a source of recurring cost overruns. Critics once assumed legacy automakers lacked the daring to experiment at scale. Yet those same carmakers now showcase the stability that comes from institutional experience. Volkswagen's German operations, for example, continue producing EVs with negotiated labor agreements and robust supplier networks. They are hardly immune to delays, but rarely do bottlenecks throw entire production schedules into question. Tesla's opposite approach, prioritizing speed, risk, and high automation, creates fragility. A single shortage in labor or parts sends output tumbling, where competitors manage to adapt. Tesla's narrow lineup magnifies this fragility. Gigafactories depend heavily on producing Model 3s and Model Ys. If demand falters, overhead remains fixed. Lower throughput drives per unit costs higher, eroding competitiveness. BYD, on the other hand, insulates itself by producing dozens of models across categories, from compact runabouts to luxury sedans. A dip in one line is offset by growth in another. For Tesla, concentration multiplies every stumble in its production system. Even the automation-first philosophy, once Tesla's crown jewel, now looks overstretched. Robots can handle steel stamping or repetitive welding at speed, but when defects surface or machines fail, recovery demands the kind of adaptive response human labor excels at. Tesla's drive to minimize staffing backfired. When recruitment lagged in Berlin, operations became brittle. Unlike mixed human-robot lines at Hyundai or Kia that pivot quickly, Tesla's fully automated processes stall until fixes are coded and retested. The cost of downtime adds up, and efficiency evaporates. Investors once assumed Tesla's factories granted a structural cost edge. Data now indicates the opposite. Production shortfalls, recall costs, and reliance on imported parts push costs upward even as rivals are driving theirs down. BYD produces vehicles at scale with lower recalls and shorter lead times. Hyundai and Volkswagen use experience and diversified product bases to maintain steady throughput. Tesla, meanwhile, risks losing the very low-cost thesis that justified its pricing power. The Cybertruck story highlights the larger danger. Tesla hoped it would redefine trucks, much as the Model 3 redefined sedans. Instead, recalls and disappointing sales left it hemorrhaging credibility. When a supposed flagship model drags margins instead of lifting them, investor confidence in Tesla's production pipeline weakens. Add falling Model Y share in China and production lags across Europe, and the picture sharpens. The once vaunted manufacturing edge has dulled. The broader context exposes a strategic miscalculation. Tesla set itself apart by betting everything on factories built for hyperscaled output, with automation at their core. But factories alone cannot insulate against labor exhaustion, regulatory friction, or a limited lineup. Rivals quietly combine scale with resilient logistics and diverse product strategies. BYD's Blade battery illustrates the difference. Owning design and production reduces dependency. Tesla's global hubs lack that flexibility, making bottlenecks harder to resolve. What emerges is a reversal of Tesla's past narrative. Years ago, Tesla showed the world that EV factories could be profitable where legacy rivals bled capital. In 2025, the opposite is true. Tesla carries rising per-unit costs while its competitors' efficiencies compound. Automation without adaptability turned into fragility. Expansion without labor buy-in became turnover. Product concentration translated into risk exposure. Layered together, these forces stripped away Tesla's manufacturing advantage at the very moment it needs cost leadership most. That turn is not abstract. Investors run the math: slower production growth, rising recalls, rising inventories, and diminished margins, and reassess Tesla's positioning. Where Elon Musk once touted the machine that builds the machine as revolutionary, today those machines underscore a slower, costlier, and less flexible company. BYD continues to scale, Volkswagen wields institutional strength, and Hyundai adapts at speed. Tesla, by contrast, wrestles with the very factories that were supposed to guarantee its dominance. And when manufacturing struggles undermine quality and efficiency, the real test shows up beyond the production floor. Customers see the aftereffects in their cars, their service visits, and their ownership experience. That perception shift is where the next chapter in Tesla's story unfolds.